Okay, imagine this for a moment. A young girl soaring, not in a story, I mean, but with actual feathered wings. You'd think pure fantasy, right? This stuff of dreams. But what if the sources we've got in front of us today say it's, well, not fantasy at all? What if it's real and the result of something truly unsettling? Welcome to the deep dive. We go through the sources you provide, articles, notes, personal accounts, all of it, and pull out the core insights for you. Today, we're diving into something pretty extraordinary. It mixes shocking science, a very hidden group, and this desperate fight for freedom. Our mission here is to get to the heart of these dramatic events, uncover the truth about these winged humans, and look at the really tricky ethics of genetic engineering involved. We're looking at documents that detail these, frankly, unbelievable encounters, this shadowy place called the school, and a whole web of connected mysteries. This isn't just some story, it's a deep look into events reported as fact in these materials. So let's get specific. The sources jump right in with this pivotal moment. A girl, Max. She's got these striking white and silver-tipped wings, 9 feet across apparently, and she just clears a 10-foot electric fence.
Ugh.
Effortlessly. The description is so vivid, it really jumps off the page. And it's not just the flying, it's about her whole biology being advanced. We also learn her hearing is incredibly sharp. She can separate sounds just the thousandth of a second apart. That's way beyond normal flight. It's highly evolved senses.
Yeah, what hits you immediately from these early accounts is how much it challenges, natural laws as we understand them. Take Frannie O'Neill. She's a vet in Bear Bluff, Colorado, quiet town. Her world just gets turned upside down. She sees this streaking white flash in the woods, and her first thought, her whisper really, is, I did not just see a young girl with wings. That shock, that absolute disbelief, it feels very real, very human. It grounds the impossible.
Right. And while Franny's reeling from that, somewhere else, another key figure arrives. We meet Kit Harrison. He's landing in Colorado, clearly stressed, sweaty, crammed in a plane seat, feeling like a loser, the notes say. But then we find out that's not his real name. He's Thomas Anthony Brennan. Used to be a big deal at the FBI, a shooting star agent. Now he's on some kind of covert, off-the-books mission, and he feels this immense weight, believing that nothing in history was more important than what he'd come here to investigate, even if it means being, quote, sore afraid and going totally against his old bosses.
And that contrast is fascinating, isn't it? Franny's raw disbelief versus Kit's, well, sheer determination. It sets up this tension right away. How do ordinary people react to something that just breaks reality? And what kind of person, what drives them to chase after it when the official lines are basically saying, nothing to see here?
Exactly. And this is where those two threads, the flying girl, the rogue agent, start to weave together in really compelling ways. The sources give us Franny's backstory. She's a vet, yes, but she's also grieving her husband, David Macon. He was murdered, and he was a molecular biologist from MIT. Turns out Franny herself had an interest in biotech and cross-species genetics. David apparently said it was less far-fetched than the wonderful movie Dinosaurs, and that it was already being done now in a number of independent labs. Kind of sets the stage, doesn't it?
It really does. And Kit's motivation is just as powerful, but rooted in tragedy. He lost his wife, his 2 young sons back in '94. Plane crash. And it's somehow tied to his career. This loss fuels his obsession with these missing doctors. Kim, Heekin, Mishan, Franny's husband, and McDonough. He's convinced they're connected, part of something bigger. A missing link, maybe. His stubbornness, ignoring orders from his FBI boss, Peter Stricker. It just highlights how committed he is to this specific unsanctioned case.
Then comes this incredible moment where the two connect. Franny, seeing something sensitive in Kit, finally tells him what she saw. The winged girl, and his reaction, the source says, the top of his head had just blown off. It doesn't just validate her sanity, it's this shock of recognition. He knows. He's been chasing the same thing for 3 years already.
Yeah, putting that together, you really see the kind of immense drive it takes to pursue something so dangerous, so off the grid, pushing everything aside. And it makes you wonder, what kind of knowledge is so explosive that the official channels would bury it so deep? What lengths would powerful people go to?
And the truth they start uncovering is, well, it's deeply disturbing. There's a trail of murders. Frank McDonough, a pediatrician, drowned. Then Henrik Kroner, a hospital president, and his girlfriend Jilly, both shot. Kit, with his FBI training, he immediately thinks, they don't like witnesses. Seems pretty clear.
And Max, the girl, she starts dropping these fragmented clues about the school. Little things that sound almost innocent but are just horrifying in context, like TV being her mom and pop or babysitter, shows this profound neglect that she mentions forbidden flying and kids being put to sleep like little Adam, just casually. It's chilling.
The absolute worst comes when Kit and Franny manage to get inside this abandoned place Max calls the school, the Central Colorado-induced mutant lab. What they find, The descriptions in the sources are just gut-wrenching. Cribs with dead and dying children, total system failures, pulmonary, cardiac, renal, stark descriptions, faceless infants, conjoined twins, kids with simian features, just deformed, impossible children. All apparently grown from normal human zygotes but then mutated. And Max just states it, plain fact. They put the babies to sleep with the rejects, the losers. They do it all the time, now you know. Just devastating.
And Frannie's medical exam of Max herself grounds this horror in, well, shocking scientific detail. She finds Max is oviparous. She lays eggs, has no breasts. A true human-avian hybrid. Her whole system is different. An avian cardiopulmonary system. Heart like a good-sized horse. A one-way flow of air through her lungs, which explains that incredible flight endurance. Her bones lightweight and hollow, but also very strong. Frannie realizes Max was absolutely designed meticulously. She even guesses about a mutated cow gene, the double muscling kind, to explain the chest strength needed for flight. It shows the terrifying precision they achieved, manipulating life itself for, well, for their own dark purposes.
And then the masterminds. The ultimate betrayal. Turns out Gillian, Frannie's friend, is actually Dr. Susan Parkhill, a top biologist, working with Dr. Anthony Pizer, the mystery designer, and her dead husband, Carl Perls. That's Pizer. He wasn't dead at all. Gillian just calmly explains it. They induced a quite sizable amount of bird chromosome into human zygotes, made creatures like Max. She even claims her own son, Michael, who is revealed to be Adam, the one Max mentioned, has a life expectancy of maybe 200 years or more. The motivation, creating humans for parts and creating these enhanced beings for profit, presumably.
And the sheer scale of the depravity becomes clear with this grand auction they uncover, a secret event. Big names in genetic engineering, biotech firms, even countries bidding on these miraculous children. Peter, just 4 years old, his bid reaches $1 billion. $1 billion. It's the absolute commodification of human life, not just experimenting, but valuing these children like assets. It really slams home the question, what happens when science gets this far ahead of ethics? What's our responsibility?
The level of deception, the coldness, the depravity described, it's almost unbelievable. And the immediate result for Max, Kit, Frannie, a desperate, frantic fight just to survive.
Yeah, the escape sequence is truly breathtaking. Max steps up, becomes a leader. She teaches the other kids, Matthew, Oz, Exekis, who's blind, Peter, Wendy, how to fly. From this rocky outcrop, her instructions are so simple yet profound. Send your mind up and out of your body, then just let your wings do the work. The sources describe them flying together like a flock, an incredible sight.
But their freedom attempt is met with pure ruthlessness. They, the organization, bomb and burn the school down, destroying all the evidence. And Frannie's animal hospital, the inpatient, torched too, just wiped clean. Though thankfully the animals were let out. It just shows how far they'll go. No loose ends. Then the chase ramps up. Harding, Thomas, Uncle Thomas to Max and his men, including ex-army guys hunting them with dogs infrared. Max fights back using her abilities, even deliberately, vomiting on a guard. Then this intense car chase. Max and Matthew are actually taunting Thomas. And then Max makes this incredibly bold move. She dive bombs Mercedes with Pizer, Gillian, and Thomas inside. Causes this huge crash.
But the cost is immense. Max is badly hurt, huge gash in her chest, a broken wing. Kit gets shot in the neck, seriously injured. The scenes at the hospital Boulder community, they sound urgent, critical. It just underscores that for people hiding secrets this big, eliminating witnesses, destroying evidence, it becomes their logical next step, however twisted. Power protecting itself.
That whole escape sequence, though, it's just an incredible testament to resilience, isn't it? The limits people can push to. Not just the victims, but the ones like Kit and Frannie fighting for them.
Absolutely. And in the immediate aftermath, Kit, Frannie, and the kids who survive, Max, Matthew, Oz, Irick, Peter, Wendy, they basically vanish. Put into a kind of witness protection out in the woods. They find some peace, some freedom in nature, a stark contrast. The government apparently had no idea how to handle beings like this, so they just made them disappear to keep it contained.
And it's in that quiet space that trust really forms. Kit finally tells Frannie his real name, Thomas Anthony Brennan, his whole FBI story, how he was pulled off the case. That honesty prompts Frannie to share her own certainty that her husband David was probably murdered by his own colleagues at the school, connecting her personal loss to the whole conspiracy.
And then there's this truly unexpected, almost hopeful twist. The Army arranges a reunion between the winged children and their birth parents.
Yeah.
At base in North Carolina, it confirms what Frannie suspected. They weren't cooked up in lab beakers. They have human mothers. Seeing those reunions, the emotion described, it powerfully emphasizes their humanity, despite everything. A real glimmer of hope in all that darkness.
The sources also make clear the broader, darker scope. Other experiments, like this infant Eve, faceless, purposely designed for parts, that's the chilling phrase used, a stark contrast to the successful children like Max. It shows the full, horrifying spectrum of what was happening.
And what we really take away from this part is that crucial question about societal responsibility. When science can do this, manipulate life so fundamentally, where do we draw the line? It forces you to confront that knife edge between discovery and depravity.
So what does it all mean? These sources, they didn't just tell a story, they peeled back the layers on this truly astonishing, terrifying secret. From its beginning right through to the human cost. We saw incredible resilience from these designed children, and we saw the profound ethical crises faced by those who discovered them.
Right, from that first shocking glimpse Frannie had to this global conspiracy and the desperate fight for a freedom nobody could have imagined. It's been a wild journey through this material.
And this deep dive really forces us to think, doesn't it? Not just about what science can do, but about the moral choices that absolutely have to go with it. If humanity can design life, what does that mean for being human? Are there boundaries we should just never, ever cross? Playing God, as they say. Definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive.